Okay, everybody. Hello. Welcome here to a wonderfully organised Friday afternoon slot. Sorry, I've just got back from holiday and I'm not here, but I am delighted to have on today. Who shall I start with? Let's start with Rich. I'm going to start with Rich from Dezrez. How the devil are you, sir? You okay?
I'm really good, thanks, Simon. Thank you for having me on. It's nice to be on another webinar with you guys.
No worries at all. You're an old hand at this. Speaking of old hands, hello, Suzanna. How are you? You okay there? The world of Acaboom doing you well?
Yeah, good, thank you. Although I would like to point out that you got back from holiday a week ago, just to rub some salt in the wound there.
It takes a while to get it out of your system. So anyway, enough of that. What are we here to talk about today? He says, literally looking at his notes. We are here to talk about Win More Instructions with the wonderful integration that has come hot off the labs from Dezrez again. Who's going to set us up? Talk us through what this is going to do for your clients.
Sure. Do you want me to take that, Rich?
Yeah, go for it.
Sure. Well, for anyone who doesn't know what Acaboom does, where have you been all my life? But if you don't know what Acaboom does, we're all about converting more instructions. So from the moment that you get that appointment in the diary, it's then all about converting it and winning it. So Acaboom essentially is a market appraisal toolkit. Now, partnered with the Resi, that does mean that as soon as you book that appointment into the system, it transfers all that wonderful client data straight into Acaboom and puts it into action. That means that it will immediately introduce the correct valuer and indeed the company itself as well, just to make sure that that potential client knows exactly who's coming around, when they're coming, and also they're already starting to build trust and understand what they're going to get for their fee as part of that instruction process. And does anybody want to say anything else? Or
we're waiting for a round of applause there.
Well, I was waiting for something rather than you looking in silence.
Yeah,
it's amazing. That's absolutely right. And I know, I think for us, the key thing with this is that it drives consistency across the business, doesn't it? So that every time market appraisal is booked in Resi, that straight away puts the information straight into Acaboom. So it doesn't rely on the negotiator anymore to actually do that work. It's actually happening in the background. As soon as you book that MA, it's straight into Acaboom, and that pre-val email is sent out. So it's it's a seamless integration. Pretty simple, really, but
that's always the best.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And Suzanna, one of the things that I've heard you talking to people before is when you kind of do your in-depth discussions with the business to find out what they're doing currently. There is a real disparity, isn't there? You can have some really people who go to town and they put a lot of time, effort into following up on the appraisal. They might spend a lot of time looking at stuff, and then you will find other people who are just rushing it through. As Rich is talking about here, isn't Acaboom all about giving that consistency and increasing the level of, I suppose you're going to get from the brand itself, whatever agency you're dealing with?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it does provide a significant level of consistency across different valuers because, of course, when you ask the business owner, what do we present before the appointment, what do we present during it, and what do we present afterwards, you will get a certain set of answers. But then when you ask the valuers, you'll get a whole different set. Yeah. So the idea of Acaboom is as well, we will create that market appraisal toolkit with them all involved so that it does give the answers that really need to be delivered at all those stages consistently every single time.
Okay. Yeah. So how does it connect then? Talk us through what the end users are ultimately going to see.
Yeah, and just to add to that, I think driving the consistency thing, and also the fact that the owner can go in and see a dashboard in Resi where they can see all the milestones updated against each property, so they can see that 25 Acacia Avenue has had the pre-val email. They've then opened the presentation, so they've got all those things that you can actually see that in Resi, which is great. So that gives you the owner the view that and the comfort that all of every single market appraisal valuation that the valuers go on has actually had the Acaboom presentation sent. So it's really good from that point of view as well. But yeah, so that's the things you'll see. I think we've got a video actually, Simon, that we can show if you've got it there. But
this is just a very quick video to show you our integration with Acaboom. I'm going to book a valuation and select property, and I'll just go through the motions here very quickly. Let's say detached house, a couple of bedrooms, okay. And I'll just add an existing client in myself. And I'll use, there we go. Okay, and I'll book it for now and confirm the appointment. So that's our valuation booked. Okay, and what it's doing is hitting our API integration workflow that triggers populating Acaboom. If I just refresh here, you'll see that 17 Mansfield Road, Merton has now been pulled through into Acaboom itself. So there's no double entry. It's very, very slick, very straightforward. That's the property and the clients, and it's actually also sent the pre-val email as well, which you can click to have a look at.
It's really straightforward, but you know, just links everything up in the background, so the agent doesn't have to do anything other than book the MA and get that in the diary.
So Ross, from your side there, you know, whistled through that as obviously a valuer actually would do. But what you take from that in terms of there is, it is a really deep bit of integration, that, isn't it? It's not just, you know, I think one of the frustrations agents get when they just hear integration is they always think it's going to be integration to that degree, and sometimes they get a little let down that it doesn't do quite what they feel it should do. And what I'm seeing from that is that there's no rekeying of data at all there. There's no logging into separate systems. It's going to be a big tick in the box, isn't it, for users of both your systems? Yeah,
definitely. And you know, a lot of our customers love Acaboom, and so it absolutely made sense to integrate. Well, absolutely. You know, it's amazing. It's a fantastic tool. So yeah, it made absolute sense to have this link up between the two companies and to get the right information in Resi and in Acaboom really quickly, and it saves time as well, obviously, because you don't have to go, as you said, Simon, doesn't have to go into two systems to update both. You just update the one and all happens as if by magic.
And that efficiency, it does matter. I mean, it might not seem like, you know, that much over the course of just a single appraisal you're booking there, but over the course of a week, month and year across the business, that adds up to some serious time, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the same with all integrations, isn't it, really? You know, the more you can do, the better the more time you can save as an organization. So yeah, it does absolutely make sense to keep these integrations going, and when it just helps the agent themselves to, as we said, drive that consistency and make sure they're getting the as many of the market appraisals instructed on the same day, ideally. Yeah, so I don't know, is that what you see as well, Suzanna? Do you see a lot of that happening?
I mean, absolutely. I mean, the idea of winning instructions on the day was somewhat alien to a lot of valuers. I mean, in fact, the national average for winning them on the day is just 7%. So it is quite low to get that instruction there and then. Whereas what we're really trying to change here with technology is the fact that, you know, once the market appraisal is booked, it seamlessly transfers that data from Resi into Acaboom, starts communicating with the client. And as soon as that market appraisal is completed, not only is a full proposal delivered to the client, but also it's got digital signature software in it. So we call that AcaSign, but essentially that's the agency agreement all built into the proposal. So that prospective client has everything they need there to make an informed decision, including all the examples of what they get included in their fee, your fee itself, but then also the ability to just click Instruct Me Now and sign the agreement that very same day, which is a very seamless process in comparison to most where, you know, we'll go to do the market appraisal and actually it'll take 1.8 days to even send a standard follow-up just saying these are the prices. Whereas with Acaboom and combined with Resi there, it can be out within sort of 10 minutes after the market appraisal, or as a very minimum the same day, and essentially give the client everything they need to sign up there and then. So let's get that 7% on the day increased, shall we, with the combination of technology.
And and as we know, obviously, it's all about speed of response these days, isn't it? You know, so that ability to, whilst you're still fresh in their mind, getting that appraisal report back to them is absolutely critical, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, like I said on a number of the webinars we've done, Simon, technology should help the agent, shouldn't it? It should be there as an enabler to improve customer service, to improve close rates of instructions, all those things. So this is just another problem that we're solving using technology, which is like we said, that's what technology is there for, and linking these two up does really help and drive that forward.
Absolutely.
And Suzanna, any other features that are included within that market appraisal toolkit?
Other than what I perhaps just mentioned in terms of, before the market appraisal, making sure we're introduced correctly, probably what we do at the appointment. I mean, most agents will be, or valuers, are quite guilty of making most of the market appraisal very verbal, which of course is important because we need to build a relationship. We need to build that trust. However, people only remember 10% of what we say, whereas they remember 65% of what we show them. So ideally, you'd be using Acaboom at the appointment to really demonstrate your work and what you can offer, such as if you're doing, say, 360 tours, let's play them an example as opposed to telling them that. So there's lots of different ways that Acaboom can help the valuer and aid them to really convey all those market winning tools that they've got in the background to the client at the appointment. And then, of course, as I've mentioned, it's afterwards as well, making sure we deliver a fantastic visual proposal, especially if you've fallen to that occupational hazard of only seeing one decision maker. How often does that happen? Then we're relying on the other decision maker to sell it to the other person later. Well, again, not with Acaboom, because we're delivering the full proposal and they can literally almost relive the pitch later on that day, over the dinner table if necessary, or on the sofa with a cup of tea or a glass of wine if you're a bit like me. And essentially then with the digital contract all signed into it, Bob's your uncle. But I suppose the other thing I can say is for those ones that will take longer, because let's face it, some of them just aren't ready to instruct there and then, there's also the features of being able to know when they're in decision-making mode, knowing when they're reading that agency agreement.
And that's a critical point, isn't it, about Acaboom? I mean, that's always been the reason why valuers love that. I mean, it really still resonates, doesn't it, with what that immediacy.
Yeah, and of course, then there's the nurturing program that kicks in after that to make sure that we stay in touch for really a 12-month process. It's, many agents will view the market appraisal process at the appointment itself and then sort of a week or two follow-up. But really, when you look at the statistics, 32% of people will instruct after a month. So we really need a longer-term journey when we're thinking about how we win more business. And really, that's what it's about. So coming back to Resi, you pop your appointment in there as normal and then let it push that into Acaboom and let us take care of it for you and win you that business.
Yeah.
So when you went quite bullish with win more instructions with Resi and Acaboom, so it's good to actually understand those the different ways in which you can actually be doing that. And you are correct, Suzanna. We are all stunned that you've made it onto a webinar on a Friday afternoon when the pubs are open. So
Simon, I don't think it was me that was a trouble to get on the webinar today. I think everyone will from the back office will definitely say that you were ringing me for the link just as we were going live. So touche.
That's outrageous. Well, let's go. So we got Ian Lang-Bennett here. Thanks, Ian, for jumping on. Hi there. We're using a similar product until July this year, so I know how these things work. We moved away from that product as the software was moving in a direction that wasn't for us. I think Acaboom would sit well with us, and we use Resi Premium and all the magic that comes with it. How can I set this up? Well, that sounds great. And Kaylee, as usual, is on the ball. She's going to be in contact. So fantastic. So obviously any Resi clients that are keen to know more, drop us a line or speak to your account manager there. Go to obviously either Acaboom on kerfuffle.com or Dezrez on there, and there's just a contact us button, and we'll obviously forward on any of those inquiries to there.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
I was just going to say the easiest way to book an Acaboom demonstration is just on our website. Just click request a demo and you can actually see my diary and availability there and choose a slot that suits you.
They love a conflicted call to action there, Suzanna. So well done.
Yeah.
The pitch
well,
there,
sorry, but then you'll only forward it to me and I'll have to do that. So I was, again, streamlining processes. I'm streamlining processes just like Resi and Acaboom have done.
Well, you've let me seamlessly into that then. So, so how much does it require from the actual agent? Is it simply a click of a button?
Yeah, I think you've seen it there, really, Simon. There's not a lot more to say about it, to be honest with you. Book the market appraisal in Resi, and the magic happens in the background. And then, you will see. Obviously, then you can go into Acaboom as Ross did in the video there. So you can go in and you can see the milestones that have passed for each of those properties that you've done an MA for. Or you can see that as well in Resi. That wasn't actually on the video, but there's a little dashboard, as I said, with each of the properties and all of the the stages that particular presentation is at. So yeah, it's too simple, really. There's nothing else.
Which is important, isn't it? I think being able to see within the CRM the source of truth there. The business owner essentially wants to be able to see what's happening with that contact in one place. So although you can view that in Acaboom, absolutely, in our own dashboard, of course, that's very seamless to see now with the Resi integration. So I think that simplifies things once again.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. Again, going back to all the integration we do, you don't want to take everything from one of our partners, because the stuff that Suzanna and Acaboom do in their solution is their niche, is their thing they do. We don't want to build that, but the agent just wants to see the key elements of that solution in their CRM, because that's where they spend every day. Getting their reports, or just looking at how the business is doing. So it's just another tool to show how that. How the business is doing, and that again, the consistency has been driven across the piece with all the valuers.
But what's great here, Rich, is that in the past there were CRM companies, dare I say, with delusions of world domination, who wanted to have everything within one package. And they were masters of none, were they? Because they spread themselves too thinly. But what we're seeing here is actually the way that the world's wonderfully developed with things like Apple, the App Store, and the route you're going down now, is that you can get much the same effect with the two systems tied together, but you're just dealing with different vendors at the end of the day, aren't you? Who ultimately specialize.
Yeah, and I think you as a CRM, you don't want to go for world domination, because that takes forever to try and get all that. We're never going to do all the things that our amazing partners do. You want them to continue doing that and just bring the key elements into the software. That's absolutely key. And I know some of the other CRMs maybe trying to do that, but I think that's not what we want to do. We want to connect up software so that everyone gets the best of all the different software solutions out there. I mean, there's hundreds of solutions out there, isn't there? New prop tech coming online all the time.
Well, I seem to be on with you every week, Rich. So I don't know. Poor Ross, he can't be sleeping much at the moment with your because of the amount of work. And just talk us through that basis there. So I mean, you have obviously with great fanfare the whole open API and everything else that's going there. What was the process like, Suzanna, dealing with Dezrez from that point of view? Was it an easy process compared? You don't have to name others, but how easy was it dealing with these guys?
What you mean from a supplier point of view in terms of setting the integration up?
Exactly right, yeah. Because I mean, in the part, it can be like pulling teeth for both sides of the equation. We know how hard it is to get something working as slick as like that. It does not happen accidentally, does it?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, most of the work was on Dezrez's side. Really, we have an open API that we've passed in, and they are passing us the data and pulling it back. So very simple, really, especially from our perspective.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, it was a very quick process. So, and yeah, I think that's the beauty of having two bits of software with APIs. It means you can do things quickly. So yeah, it was pretty seamless. We've got something called platforms as well, which is the way in which we can show those widgets on our dashboard, and the whole platforms thing is all about quick, fast integrations with partners, and so. That's exactly what we use for this, and it means that we can show those dashboards inside Resi. So it's a cool tool, because you can quickly then bring all sorts of things in. We just did a link up with a estate agent today, so you can actually have your news feed inside Resi.
Oh, nice.
That's a cool little feature as well. So thousands of emails you get from those guys, you can actually see the actual updates live in Resi.
Excellent. And Ian's just come up with a follow-up question. He says, I think you just answered this, but thank you. Is the API a two-way process? For example, if you update the valuation figures in Acaboom, do those figures end up back in Resi? Does it work like that, or is it?
So I can answer that. I mean, essentially, it's a two-way process, as we've described. However, it doesn't update the valuation figure as it stands, but that's something that we can certainly kind of put on the roadmap and achieve between us. I mean, to be honest, the two-way feed's already set up. It's just a question of which data we call back and forth. That's not something that we've put in there immediately, but Rich, I'm happy to speak about that offline and, get a solution in place for that, because I can see how that would make an even more seamless process. So thank you for your feedback there, Ian. Yeah.
And I think that's the beauty again of being able to use integrations quickly, is that that agents like Ian will come up with these ideas and say, you know, can this be done? And we can go, yeah, let's make it better. And so any sort of anything we can do on that front is good. But yeah, the APIs are two-way, so it means you can push data both sides. So yeah, once the link's open, it's a pretty quick way to do that.
Lovely. And Suzanna, what kind of client and market intelligence is offered by Acaboom? Because isn't that an area you've been developing recently?
Yeah, we have lots of different kind of data on offer, really. I think how I normally present this when I'm doing a demonstration of Acaboom is we do provide a number of, you know, parts of market data about their property, data about kind of the area they live in, lots of different things, but often it's data overload, you think, when there's so much there. So we offer it as a selection, and it's very much in the power then for the valuer to use the correct things in the toolkit to present to the correct client. So a whole array of data, I would say. Jump on a demonstration and come and have a look, because there's too much to talk about. But we do try and fill that toolkit full of everything that the valuer might possibly need, depending on that kind of vendor or landlord that they're pitching to. Because let's face it, they're all a little bit different.
Absolutely. And just to prove how organized I am, I'm going to save people a lot of time and energy, and I'm actually going to put in your Calendly link as well into it. So as long as that still is the right one, if you do want to book in some time with Suzanna to have a look at, first of all, how Acaboom works, and obviously deal with any other questions about the integration, there it is, quite helpfully, just to be able to do that there as well.
I think, I don't know if you've got one for Dezrez as well, but I think, you know, if you are an Acaboom client and of course you're looking to streamline these processes with the use of CRM, connect with them. So whichever solution you've got, you need to connect with the other one to make sure that this is a seamless process going forwards.
Yeah.
So you're basically having to go at me because I don't have their Calendly link now. So thank you for that.
Any excuse, Simon, really.
You can just go onto our website on dezrez.co.uk and just book a demo. Simple.
Oh, don't confuse Simon with multiple call to actions, Rich. He's just told me off that.
Sorry.
There it is. Kaylee's on the ball.
Okay, guys. I mean, I think that's a really important point, though, what he was raising there just before, what Ian was talking about, because, you know, integration shouldn't stop, should they? I mean, I think, again, going in the past when they were hard-coded integrations, they would stay like that for many, many years, wouldn't they? But I think one of the things that I see as most rewarding these days is that actually the framework you've built means that it can develop on and innovate easily.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the whole agile methodology. If you're into your sort of techie dev stuff, you know, it's all about building something, getting it out there, getting feedback, and then improving it. Hello to the cat.
Yeah, sorry, Wilson. Come to join the party. Sorry.
Hello. So absolutely, that works really well. If we can get feedback from clients, we're happy to act upon that.
Excellent. Well, it's really good, guys. It looks really excellent there. As we say, go have a look at Acaboom and Dezrez on kerfuffle.com, because you can see all of the great feedback there as well from that. This feels like just another great sort of evolution of that, and great to see two companies like yourselves working together on this.
Yeah, great. Thank you.
Right, for today, thank you very much, and hope you all have a great weekend. Thank you, guys.
Cheers.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Bye. Everyone.